Welcome to Cross Politic. We have a horrible show planned for you today. An absolute horrible show planned for you today. And if you were smart, you would have taken my admonition to run in the beginning. We don't know what's going on.
We warned you.
We did warn you.
We did warn you.
Pastor Toby's not here. No. Gabe's here. Chocolate Knox is here. Yeah. And I just want you guys to know, Kamala Harris is not working at McDonald's. Trump is. She's over preaching at New Birth in Atlanta.
I proposed in our YouTube chat, I said, preacher, Kamala, or Trump serving fries.
That's our choices.
That's our choices for this election. Here we are. Are you concerned your child's current education won't give them the skills necessary to succeed in any area of life? Consider homeschooling with Classical Conversations by applying the classical Christian model of education. The Classical Conversations curriculum encourages students to learn how to learn and how to think for themselves so they can adapt to every challenge of their life that is thrown at them. Join over 50,000 families in 50 countries who have chosen to educate their children with Classical Conversations by visiting classicalconversations.com/FLF. That's helpful. classicalconversations.com/FLF. And if we haven't created a cocktail that is dangerous to our society where you're raising students in the public school system who can't think for themselves and are highly emotional.
Yep.
That's the cocktail you're getting right now. I got another one for you. Alrighty, guys. You listen to, come on. You listen to Cross Politic because you take the Dominion mandate seriously. Absolutely. Genesis 1. Let's go. So you, unsurprisingly, so does our friends Dominion Wealth Strategies. They will help you build a multi-generational legacy with holistic financial strategies that include budgeting, insurance, debt management, retirement planning, estate planning, and more. Dominion Wealth leverages all corners of the financial services industry as independent brokerage agents, which is nice, matching you with suitable products and service from dozens of top industry service providers. They educate, advise, and build plans to reduce your donations to Caesar and maximize your gift to God. I love that line.
Anything reduced to Caesar, I like.
Amen. No matter your tax bracket, they have a solution for every fiscal stage of life and for your children. If you and your spouse want to take dominion over your finances, book a complimentary consultation at reformed.money today. That's reformed.money today. From baptism to burial, Dominion has you covered. Once again, that is reformed.money to book a complimentary consultation. Not to mention, Dominion mandate. Dominion Wealth mandate. Dominion Wealth will be at the Fight Laugh Feast conference.
They believe in the Dominion mandate too.
Yeah, they'll be at the Fight Laugh Feast conference.
Yes, they will.
Joe Garrissey of Backwards Financial will be at the Fight Laugh Feast conference. David Reese, Army Republic.
Yep, the Reese Fund.
Yep. Will be at the Fight Laugh Feast conference. We have a watchmaker that basically just went. He signed up. Right. The Wasson watchmaker guys. They just signed up yesterday to attend our conference, and basically the same day they went viral.
Really?
They went viral for calling out abortion on Instagram and sharing it on Twitter and just blew up all over the place. Pretty hilarious.
Watchmakers.
Wasson, Wasson, watchmakers.
Okay.
And big conservatives shared it yesterday.
Way to go.
It was awesome.
Way to go.
It was awesome. So they got some blessing coming their way from staying up for life and everything. So, all right, man. No Toby here today, but don't worry, guys. We got you covered.
Hey, I just want to say, if I was you, I'd be praying that we don't get to the end of the show and that like something happens, a power goes out, or we talk about the other clips too much.
It's only going to get better.
Because what I have queued up for you right now is, if we haven't even been through it ourselves. It's Kamala Harris's, what do you call it? Sermon, talk, speech, whatever, 18 minutes. Jamal Bryant, who shouldn't be a pastor anyway.
Dude, I just was doing research on him before the show, and he's a snake.
He shouldn't be pastoring.
Womanizer.
And if you're, his church is New Birth in Atlanta.
He like Eli's kids in the temple.
It's pretty bad. And I think Jamal Bryant actually preached afterwards too, and they did it on Pink Sunday, and I think they're doing something. It was like breast cancer thing is what I'm guessing, And so what a great time to have Kamala Harris come in, But anyway.
But first, before we get there, if you guys have followed the, Jesus is Lord controversy with Kamala, and then Christ is King with J.D. Vance, it's the contrast that God keeps kind of giving us in this whole, Kamala preaching, Trump serving fries. I mean, there's just contrasts all over that God gave us in this whole campaign. But here, first, I want to show you two clips because there's some controversy a little bit or some debate on what actually happened. But this first clip is Kamala At her rally, a couple college students said, Jesus is Lord or Christ is King, and this is her response. Go.
Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally.
She's right.
And they do.
We know. Wow.
Okay. There's another clip that I think is also gives a little context to this.
I just want to say real quick, they're living up to their platform, the Democratic platform.
Yeah.
The Democratic platform, and I don't know if the Republican platform is too far away.
They got God out a long time
They took God
ago.
out, right? I think right before Obama's run, or right around that time, they decided to take God out of their platform foundations or something like that.
in the 2000s.
Yeah.
When they did it.
Couldn't remember
when
if it was 08 or 2004. Yeah, 2012. Couldn't remember.
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah. But they're living up to their platform. So, yeah. Congratulations.
I just think they just need to be more honest. That's all. I just want people to be honest.
They're being very honest.
Just be honest.
They're
please.
being very
I
honest.
don't know. We're going to get into more of that. But here's kind of a little addition to the context.
And again, we're not going to be gaslighted on this. We remember Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court.
That's what a president does.
With the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade.
Thank you.
And they did as he intended. Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally.
So, I'll let it finish.
Is she waving at him? Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. Yeah.
No, I think you meant to go to the smaller one down the street.
Oh, stop.
The smaller rally. Has she had any rallies that are outside of Trump's rallies?
Okay.
So if you guys didn't hear, there's someone who also sounded more feminine voice to me.
Yeah.
Where she said, "You lie," because she's talking about Donald Trump, Roe v. Wade, and all that stuff. So someone said, "You lie." So roughly in the same sequence, someone says, "You lie," and then the college students say, "Jesus is Lord." Or Christ is King. And so, regardless if she's responding to Christ is King or you lie, she is absolutely wicked here. Mm-hmm. She's the one that's for baby murder, which she's talking about right now. And both those people out in the audience are calling her out, I think, in the right way. And she's responding like, "Get them out of my campaign."
Because you're lying. Because what would her lie to them? You think?
Well, I think it has to do just with the lie of abortion, but just the fact that they're a Democrat Party that's lying, and they are for abortion up to birth, that kind of thing. There's a whole abortion argument is what I would take that for.
One thing that's very obvious to me, and this goes back to the interview. I think I really solidified this for myself when I saw the interview with her and Oprah. Mm-hmm. It was really interesting. I can't remember what Trump was doing. He was doing something else, maybe a regular event, but it was her and Oprah, and it was so rigid and organized. Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, the magic of Oprah is gone. Because even all the magic that she brought to the Harris campaign, but Oprah used to be kind of a authentic. We'll go by the flow. We'll just let it happen, and I'll be in control of how things go. But it was such a scripted moment where, all right, and track A, please, and done, and track B, please, and everything was so highly produced, very organized into a very little tight bow, and said, "Here, you have to eat it." And the contrast was watching Trump on the other side of this narrative, who was like, "Put me anywhere, give me any question, give me anything, and I'll answer it based off of how I feel in the moment at the time," which has to drive Trump's team crazy, by the way.
For sure. Especially his private secret security team.
Oh, of course, because he wants to go.
He's shaking this guy's hand, and he walks to this side, whatever.
Exactly.
Well, and I think if there's any contrast between campaigns that I've seen, like, Obama, wants to be polished. Romney wants to be polished. McCain has a polishness to it. Like they're all being polished. Trump is just, his campaign is not polished.
No,
it's not.
But he can handle himself, though.
In a way,
he's a dude.
Yeah,
he can actually handle himself. Kamala can't, and I think Brett Baer interview showed that very clearly. Well,
there's only 2 interviews that I think have been hard for her. It was a 60 Minutes interview.
The 60 Minutes show she couldn't handle herself.
And the Brett Baer interview, and that was it. And then everything else, she had to. If she's trying to win over like the shaky conservatives who are like, should I vote for Trump or not? That's why she did Fox. That's why she did it. I'm not quite sure why she did a 60 Minute interview. Maybe because she thought it was going to be a little more friendly.
It's that gooey 30.
Yeah, maybe, but maybe she thought it was going to be a little more friendly because, they interviewed her for 45 minutes and they cut the interview down to 21 minutes.
Yeah. They probably should have cut it down.
What happened to 60 minutes? In the name of the show, 60 minutes?
She was so boring.
Yeah.
That we'll fill the time with another something else rather than.
Or she was so bad. Well, but that's incredible. But
that's the same thing, though. Like, that's the same thing. Boring. The number one rule about any form of entertainment or engagement or
don't be boring.
Just don't be boring. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the things that Kamala is great at. Yeah, she is fantastic at being boring. Yeah. And so they don't want an interview from her if it's not exciting. Fox makes sure that it was exciting at least.
Yeah.
No matter what side you were on.
Well, I mean, I thought the 60-minute interview was still exciting to me because of the questions and stuff that he's pushing her on. Right?
I thought so, because you saw her challenge.
She drones on. That's boring. Is all get out, but I think that's also part of her shtick, so she doesn't get asked harder questions. Well, and she drones on. I think
it's obvious based off the Brett Baer interview, she doesn't think well on her feet.
Yeah.
Right. And this is something else. Watching, what's the lady that was on Tucker, Bree? That
Harmeet
Dillon. Mm-hmm. Watching Tucker talk to her about Kamala Harris was really interesting because she brought up the point that Kamala really hasn't tried, at least early in her career. She acted like she had tried a whole bunch of cases, but she didn't. Yeah. Right? Like she wasn't.
Like she doesn't have in courtroom experience.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. That was one of the things that she talked about.
Because she's not good at it.
Exactly. And I think that.
Where did she get her law degree from?
I don't know. I have to remember. We got a producer team. They'll figure it out. I know she went to Howard. That or something. But it's interesting. She's not the person who can think well on her feet. She needs a script. Yeah. And if she doesn't have a script for it, she doesn't like it. Right? And I think that's part of the comparison too, which is what happened, I think, to her in the moment. She's like, okay, for whatever she heard, she just knows she has to get rid of those people. Right? Yeah. I can't have them here because I need to stay on script.
Well, this is funny because Ben Carson actually brought that very point up in his speech.
Leave it to Ben.
Responding to this. Let's go to that clip. It's the next clip after this. Yeah, there you go.
Is not about Democrats and Republicans. This election is about whether we are a secular nation or are we one nation under God.
I think he's right about that.
Yeah.
And it was a long time ago, but Benjamin Franklin, when he came out of that Constitution Hall after vigorous arguments over how our nation was going to be run, he was asked, "Sir, what do we have here? A monarchy or a republic?" And he said, "A republic, if you can keep it." We've kept it for 240 years, but we're as close to losing it right now as we have ever been at any point in time. We have a Department of Justice that's being used by the party in power to persecute and prosecute their political opponents, something you would expect in Russia or China or Banana Republic, occurring blatantly right in our country.
Yep.
And interestingly enough, we have somebody who's running for president who recently said in a crowd when somebody said, "Jesus Christ is Lord," that you're in the wrong crowd. Think about that. In Matthew 12:34, it says, "Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh." She didn't have time to think about what she was going to say. She just said what's in her heart.
Yep.
So maybe she's the one who doesn't belong. Maybe that's what we should be thinking about.
So Carson's basically saying secular nation versus Christian nation.
That's what's up for this election.
That's where we're
right
at
now.
Yep. And then
I think we've been under that reality for the last 40 years, maybe.
Well, he brings up the fact that we're losing our republic. I mean, we've been losing our republic for a long time. Kamala's not the death knell to our republic.
No, but I think the dam is broken so hard that it's like, man, we're sinking. 100%. So I think he's obviously about that.
But
I don't think he's wrong, though. I think he's absolutely right that the first thing that came to her mind was, you're at the wrong rally.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? Like,
that's right.
And I mean, you can argue whether or not she heard it, but
She heard something she was responding to.
I've seen a couple of you, and this is, by the way, X is fantastic.
I know.
If you're not on X to get your news, like, you should be on X.
That's where we get almost all our research done. Because people are doing research for you out there.
There's so much content. There's so many videos, multiple videos from different angles that are hearing this. On the ground, and you can see it where you hear like, oh no, they said Jesus is Lord. And you got on the ground journalists who are very clear, no, that's what was said. That's what she was responding to. It came from that direction. And this is what she said. You're the wrong rally. And then to say that Trump's rally is a smaller one down the road, like, come on.
Yeah, that's a joke.
That she's a stand-up comedian at this point.
All right, so J.D. Vance has the same opportunity at his rally, and here's how it goes with J.D. Vance.
As a person who was baptized for the first time just a few years ago, there is something really bizarre with Kamala Harris's anti-Christian rhetoric and anti-Christian approach to public policy. I don't think that we've, that's right, Jesus is king, and I don't think that we've seen...
Not missing a beat. Like what's in the heart?
Yeah, he didn't flinch.
Nope. He integrated that into his talk.
I can't think of a presidential candidate or vice president candidate that's ever said that.
Yeah.
I can't think. I can't. I was trying to figure out, has anybody else like that is pretty crazy to see somebody, J.D. Vance, right? To say that is pretty crazy to see.
Well, and it's interesting that we brought this up on the show, I think last week too, but like, it seems like the campaigns are really running hard to the religious middle right now. They're really going after the
that's what I wanted to say. Yeah. Keep going.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you have Kamala going to church, preaching at church. You have Trump. He brought up his story again where he was almost assassinated and how it made him believe in God more.
Yep.
And then, of course, J.D. Vance is using that as a talking point right now. So these last 3 weeks, all of a sudden they're turning towards the Christians. They're trying to go after the Christians. My guess is they hear that, the polls around that are going out there, that 30 million Christians aren't voting.
Yep.
My guess is they're going after some of those voters who know they voted probably in the past.
This kind of, that's right. It kind of tells you that this race is tighter than probably what we want to believe.
Yeah.
I mean, just if you look at social media, you're looking at it from a social standpoint, Trump is killing it. He's everywhere. You see him everywhere. You see his huge crowds of people. If you look at that rally that Kamala was at where the kids yell out, Jesus is Lord. Yeah. I was looking at like this college area, but I was looking at that's small. It was a small rally. That's like the after party of one of Trump's rallies.
Yeah.
And they're bigger than that. So, so it doesn't seem like they're having the same social effect as everyone else. So I can see it, but I think the race is closer than what it looks like through a social lens. Yeah. But one of the things that do you want to go and talk about the French fry thing? Because I have questions about that.
I was wondering, that was my next turn.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so you have Trump now.
This is weird.
He stages it. The McDonald's. He stops at McDonald's and makes fries for a bunch of people coming through the line in the Secret Service. Just the whole background here. It was obviously planned, coordinated, had to be. Secret Service had to know each vehicle that's pulling up.
Right.
They got to make sure there's no bomb in that car.
Right.
Just basic. So of course it's staged a little bit. It's going to be. And then they're all pro-Trump people coming through the line.
Right.
But what was interesting was, of course, like,
you got to remember why he's there, though.
Trump's just an interesting guy. Watching him golf, you're kind of interested. I kind of want to watch it for a little bit, not too long. But then he gets to McDonald's, he's flipping fries, and you're kind of, I'm just interested. I just want to hear what he's got to say at the fryer.
It's funny. I was a Kid Rock when he was doing Tucker's tour with him. Yeah, talked about just how organic. He's like, that's the word. Like he's organic. He's natural. Like that's who he is. Yeah. He's like, he was hanging out with us. He tried to give me some of his soda. Like he's just, and one of the things, no, I don't see it. And he's just talking about how that's how he really is, that he's a guy. He's that down to earth. He's that real. Yeah. And he was talking about how he gave him the tour to the White House. And it's like, out of all the times Kid Rock had been to the White House, this was the most interesting one because Trump is taking him around everywhere and hanging out. And it was just a completely different narrative than I think than the one people want to paint about it. But he's actually relatable. Right. However that's possible as a billionaire, Trump has figured out how to pull that off. Yeah. And he's been doing that way before he got into politics. That's what made everybody like Trump way before now.
Yeah.
Trump, being a billionaire, was doing all kinds of things that were entertaining.
I mean, how many hip hop videos was he on?
It was like everybody called him Uncle Trump because he was the thing to aspire to.
Yeah.
Right? And so, and he didn't push them away.
Right.
He was like, yo, let's do this.
Yeah. And he had
You're
many
my guy.
friends and all that stuff. He's well liked by Republicans and Democrats.
Everybody liked him. Everybody liked Trump. And it was funny because his daughter was just on Hot 97.5, the Breakfast Club.
That's his daughter-in-law.
I'm sorry. Yeah. And said nobody ever called my father-in-law racist until he got into politics. Like no one. Like that wasn't even, no one ever called Donald Trump racist until he got into politics. And it was really interesting.
And there's so much evidence that he's not a racist, which is insane.
No, not at all. Not at all.
All that. But it's funny because cars would come through, drive through.
Do we have some of the video?
We have some of the video. They obviously shut down the inside to protect Trump. So it's just kind of drive through McDonald's time with President Trump.
Okay.
Which is interesting. I got some comments later on that. So go ahead and play this first video.
A lot of fun here, everybody.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Look at all the fake news over there. Hello, everybody.
You can fake this,
And
right?
you know this is compliments of Trump, okay?
Yes, thank you. Mr. President,
Yes.
please don't let the United States become Brazil, my native Brazil.
We'll keep
Please,
it good.
Please.
We're going to make it better than ever, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Mr.
Brazil.
President.
Compliments of Trump.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you over there.
Thank you. Oh my God. Have a great one.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Nice to see you. Bye, darling. Have a good time. Thank you.
It's good to see you. I'm just hanging out. It's good to see you.
You know, as staged as that was, there's no way in the world Biden could even do that.
No.
What am I doing here? And another thing.
Yeah. Biden would start eating the fries out of the bag.
He'd die as soon as he had one.
So here's another video with Trump.
I could do this all day. I wouldn't mind this job. I like this job. I think I might come back and do it again.
Thank you.
Look at that. Look at that. How are you?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Nice to see you.
You made it possible for ordinary people like us to meet you.
You're not ordinary.
I mean, thank
Wow.
you so much
You
for
are not
everything you're
ordinary. I
doing.
can see.
We pray for you, and you are the type of person we want to be the president.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So nice.
Taking the bullet.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I took a bullet. That's right.
Thank you, Mr. President.
When you think about it, I guess that's right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
She said, "Thank you for taking a bullet with us, for us." The wife in the car.
Yeah.
Amazing. Notice those two. I'm sure there's others, but those two videos were some form of legal immigrants,
Right.
coming into this country, getting in line,
Right.
and thanking Mr. President and saying basically some form of "Don't let our past country become America."
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's
It's amazing.
You know, okay. So first, let me say this. This doesn't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't do anything for me. I don't feel like that I need, and this might be just me, and I know people are going to hate me for saying this, but I don't think I need my president to go work at McDonald's in order for him to be a good president and for me to believe and feel like I can trust him. Right. I have my qualifications for a president. I know what this does though. I know what it does. I know that in the current culture and where we're at right now, it is really good to see your president identify, I think, in a lot of ways, but I don't even think he's doing that here. But
I don't think he is.
I don't think he's doing that here. But I will say this. I know why he's doing what he's doing, and I think it's a good play. But I don't need it.
Yeah.
I don't need it. I just don't need it from him, right? I prefer him to do other things, right? And the reason why I think this is a good play
Is branding.
Well, yes, but he's actually if the reality is real versus fake, or true versus false,
right?
Trump is being more real than Kamala.
Yeah,
Trump is being more true than Kamala.
That's right.
Right? Like he's saying he doesn't believe that she worked at McDonald's. He went to figure it out.
McDonald's said she didn't work at McDonald's.
So he's like, I don't believe it.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. And so he's like, look, people want a real president.
Yeah.
They want somebody who's going to be authentic. And so he's like, I'm going to go in and I'm going to work. I'm going to be the most real. I'm going to work for 15 minutes longer than Kamala ever worked at McDonald's and actually tell the truth about it.
We should have had that clip because in his time at McDonald's, he said, I've worked for 30 minutes at McDonald's longer than Kamala ever has.
And so I think I see the play that's there, and as staged as it is, it's kind of real. It's as staged as Trump is being here. He's still being 100,000% more real than Kamala.
Yeah. Yeah.
As staged as all of this is. And it's super staged.
And Kamala's campaign keeps pointing out how staged it was. But if any campaign has been more staged in the history of campaigns, it's been Kamala's.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, how many?
Do we have the town hall clip?
We do have the town hall clip. Yeah, we'll get there. But real quick, how many moments on Kamala's campaign has it been staged? I mean, she goes with Tim Walz into the supermarket to pretend that they're buying a bag of Doritos.
They don't eat Doritos.
They don't eat Doritos. Yeah,
Tim Walz probably eats all kinds.
I don't know what he. All her teleprompter scripting. On
Oprah. She had a teleprompter on Oprah.
There was debate on that.
Okay.
If that was really for Kamala or not. It kind of looked like it. But
I saw text.
I'll leave some wiggle room in there.
Some wiggle room?
Some wiggle room.
Okay.
Still getting off, having a cold. So her campaign has been far more scripted. I mean, you remember she's only been on something like 10, 15 interviews.
Yeah.
And the amount of time Trump and Vance, between Tim and Kamala, and the amount of time Trump and Vance have been on something like 90 interviews.
Yeah.
And those aren't scripted. I mean, you see Trump and Vance, they get the most difficult interviews.
Yeah, I think Trump's people would rather have a scripted campaign like Kamala's. So I think Trump drives his people crazy because it was funny. Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah.
She was just she was just doing a public town hall. And she was talking about the fact that she was talking to a reporter, asked her, so what are the talking points that Trump's campaign gives you? And she's like, I shocked the reporter because I said none. They don't give me talking points.
Yeah.
They give me the mic and they let me talk about what I'm passionate about because we share the same position. They don't give me talking points.
Yeah.
And she said they were shocked that happens, that I don't get talking points. Yeah. You better believe everybody around Kamala gets talking points. And one of the things that I'm sure that Trump's campaign would love to have, they would love to have an environment that they could control because they feel like that would make them better. The fact that the president is not a loose cannon and says what he wants, when he wants, how he wants, to who he wants. They would love to have a controlled campaign. That's just not who Trump is. Yeah. Kamala Harris's campaign, she drives them nuts because she wants way more control.
It's way controlled.
Give me more control.
Well, think of Joe Biden in his administration. All the press conferences he didn't participate in, but when he did, he had names.
Yeah.
Who's going to ask the next question? What the question was going to be? It's all scripted and written out on his cards.
I think the American people. I think Americans know this, that we're in a moment right now that can't be scripted.
Yeah.
Wherever America is, whatever side you're on, I think we all know this is not a scripted moment. Right. You can't just look at the original playbook and think you can just apply this, woodenly over. You're going to have to be copious. Yeah. And one of the things we're seeing is that Trump is far more copious in this moment than Kamala is in every way. Right. And that's what happens when you have a guy who's actually been a businessman and has to actually serve other people. Right. And if he doesn't serve them well, then he doesn't benefit a value from that.
Make money.
So he's lived in the free market economy enough to know what it looks like to serve people. Yeah. However staged that McDonald's thing was, he knows. Yeah. But the game, unlike this right here.
You're not, unfortunately. We have some predetermined questions, and hopefully I'll be able to ask some of the questions that might be in your head. I hope so.
So this is a town hall, country over party town hall.
Yes.
And the lady, you probably didn't really hear the audio very well, but the lady in the town hall audience asked, are we going to be able to ask questions?
You're at the wrong party.
Yeah,
you had the wrong rally, lady.
Get out of here.
You want to go to that larger one down the street.
That's right. The town hall where you can't ask questions.
The town hall where you can ask questions is that other guy over there.
That's right. So you have, and so she responds. So the question was, you didn't hear the audio, can we ask questions? And she said,
we're going to be able to ask questions.
Hopefully we're asking some questions that are already in your head.
If that right there, that's just perfect to represent the two different parties. Our producer talked about this, and I think this is a good point to bring up. Mm-hmm. Talked about the fact that Kamala Harris she went to high school. She got her
in Canada.
Yeah, she went to high school in Canada, which has a completely different ideology and worldview system structure than America.
Yeah.
Where Trump went, what did he say? Trump went to a military school, right? Okay. That has a lot of the Christian ideology baked deep into its roots, right? And the American idea and the American worldview. So he has a whole different structure, residue of Christianity that I think Kamala has. Mm-hmm. And which means there's a very free spirit that he is looking to ignite inside of the people. And I think Kamala Harris is not looking for that. She's looking to control.
Yeah.
How can I control and create a system that controls everybody rather than a system that allows people to function on their free, God-given liberties to bless other people?
Yeah.
Right?
But this is this is the two narratives of the campaign. And often, at least the way I'm reading it, is the Democrats are constantly projecting onto Trump what they're actually doing. So Kamala, absolutely agree with you. She wants control, all the way to controlling how we define the First Amendment, right? Hillary Clinton, John Kerry. There's one other guy that in the last 3 weeks was talking about how we need to limit free speech here in America. How we need to limit the First Amendment rights. Control.
Yep.
She wants that kind of control. They want to control. I mean, COVID was a big controlling moment for Democrats and some conservatives to this point. But they want all the medical control in your life. They say they're for free women's rights and choice and abortion and all that stuff, but that's more control. That's how you control the women, go to work instead of being free to raise your kids at home. It's a massive control campaign. I honestly feel like I'm constantly being gaslighted by Kamala Harris. When they say Trump's a racist, they're constantly doing racist things like creating, black loans, black weed shops.
She just came out with a Latino.
Loans.
Did you see that? She just came out.
No, I did not.
Yes.
What was this?
It's basically the same. I have to go pull it up. But
Latino loans or something?
No. She just came up with her love letter to Latinos. Basically, the same way.
Shut up.
Yeah, I believe it's on. Maybe we'll pull it up tomorrow.
Maybe
she basically did the same thing. Sorry, white guys. She's not thinking about you.
She's not,
By the way, I just want to say you should be happy about that.
Yeah, that you aren't getting a program created.
Just be happy that she's not. I wish she wasn't about everybody else.
Well, but this, Van Jones calls Kamala Kamala.
Yeah, Mamala. Yeah, Mamala Harris.
I honestly would rather have someone as president who serves fries through McDonald's than someone who's a mama as president. I don't want no mama as president. I don't want a dad as president.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Dad as in he's living out his role as a dad in the presidential office.
That's a really good point. Did you guys find the Latino one?
Bring that up if you can.
I wonder if they...
I want someone who understands the separation of government and church, the separation of family and government, and that the government's role is limited, defined, and comes with a sword, not a mama and not a daddy.
Amen.
Right? Because that's where we get all these social programs coming from, is because we want someone to play mama for us.
Yep.
We want someone to take care of us.
Yep.
So Van Jones is asking for the socialistic mom to be in the White House, and that just gives me all sorts of EBGBs. Did you guys find that?
If they didn't find it, that's fine. We can.
Yeah. We can move on.
Do you want to do this?
All right. So now this gets us to
oh man,
Kamala. I have.
I didn't want to do this.
I believe it is best for a nation not to have a woman leading that nation.
It is a curse for a nation to have a woman lead that nation.
Isaiah 3.
Yeah.
And it's not a positive good. Now, there are circumstances when Deborah led a nation, but she led the nation, and it specifically said because her leaders were cowards.
Right.
She was in that position because her leaders were cowards. And so
you guys want to bring that video up on the stage, and I'll control it. Go ahead. I'll let you finish. Yeah.
Deborah was there because the men were cowards. But if we're in her judgment, because all the men are cowards, I prefer Deborah over a coward. Yeah. If you're going to give me a coward man, I'll prefer Deborah, right? We're getting in, but this is also Trump has obviously demonstrated that he has a lot of courage in his system, up and down, all around.
Yep.
Never been called a racist in his life till he got into politics, and then he's a racist, and he fights that. Has been 2 attempted assassinations on him. One, he got shot, and he responded very courageously in that moment. And so, I don't want a woman president, but part of what you're seeing here is the Democrats are constantly mixing categories. What is a man? What is a woman? Right? What is a president? What should a president
What
be?
is a category?
What is a category? Yeah. And here we are. What is a pastor? Well, the SBC, is that study committee done yet with that thing here? So here's Kamala ends up in New Birth. What was it?
Yeah,
New
so
Birth,
this is New Birth out in
Georgia.
in Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah.
And Pastor Jamal.
I don't think he's a pastor, but yeah, the guy who claims
You don't think he's a pastor?
The guy who claims to be a pastor, Jamal Bryant.
Is he pastor? The main pastor of that church?
He has the title of the pastor of that church.
Yeah.
Yeah. He should be stripped.
He's fornicated and has kids out of wedlock. Divorced his, I don't know, first wife, I guess.
Unqualified.
In 2008, 2009.
Go down the Titus and Timothy qualifications for elder and check, not
that, not this, not
he's
that.
not qualified.
Yeah. And now he's engaged again to the pastor of cardiology at his church.
What is a pastor of cardiology? Is that in the Bible somewhere?
The only way I could make this to any sort of sense.
Y'all look up the verse of pastor of cardiology.
Well, she's a woman, so he's not homosexual, engaged to the pastor of cardiology.
Well, it's still pretty. The offices are still gay. Right? Like.
So pastor, hey, y'all on the YouTube chat, pastor of cardiology. How do you make sense out of it? The way I make sense out of it is cardiology obviously means heart.
We get some good salutes.
So she's the pastor of the heart. She's the shepherdess of the heart in helping the people who have hearts at her church.
Yeah, that's not working for me.
I can't.
It's not working
That's
for
as
me.
far as I could get with that.
So, okay.
Pastor of cardiology. Someone says pastor of the heart, man.
We got. Then what is a regular pastor? Do we have? Okay, I don't know. I don't want to. So,
anyways, this guy who's Pastor Jamal who's violated all his requirements to be in office, should not be a pastor. He is engaged to this chick who thinks she's a pastor of cardiology,
and he allows her to. So he's already
in it. And so they invited Kamala on Pinky Sunday.
Yeah,
communism, Pinky Sunday. Are they celebrating communism? Pinky Sunday.
But okay, so before we get to play this, I just got to say, Kamala walks in, and it's really interesting. We don't have the clip, but if you go find the clip on YouTube, it's really amazing. This is almost like an education on why men aren't in the church anymore. Like, this is one of the great reasons. When they come in, Kamala Harris comes in with her entourage. They got it all roped off. It looks really important. And the person singing the worship songs and leading the worship is a woman. You look up, and everybody in the choir behind her are all women.
Are they all women?
All women.
Oh, it's Pinky Sunday though. So it's all, they brought out all the women for.
Remind me what Bible verse says we should have Pinky Sunday?
Well, Miriam led the Israelite women in worship. So
don't you even. All right. So,
I was trying.
So here it is. This is at the beginning of Kamala Harris's 18-minute sermon after they got done singing Happy Birthday to her. Now,
are they pinky promising covenants?
With you. And on this day, then I am reminded with everything that we reflect on the parable from the Gospel of Luke.
This is when everybody in the church should have got up and ran out. Yeah. Actually, way before this. Yeah. Way before this. When he introduced her.
Do we have the introduction?
Yeah.
I think the introduction is pretty important.
Do you, okay, play the introduction. Do you have that,
do we have the introduction in there, Jacob? Yep. All right, we're going to bring it up here.
I told you this is going to be the worst show you ever listened to on Cross Politics.
We're all over the place at this point.
It's our moment. Your unborn great-grandchildren are going to ask you, what were you doing?
Wow.
October 20th, 2024.
That's Pinkos.
And you were in the room for the first black woman vice president of the United States. Would you make some noise and receive our fearless...
Oh, hold on. Go back
to the first black woman. I'm doubting her ethnicity at this point. I'm sorry. I think
Candace Owens got you. Candace Owens. Hey, I ain't gonna lie. She doing the work.
Doggone.
Candace Owens is doing the work.
I mean, but also you look at her family past and look at pictures and you're like, I don't know if that husband of Kamala's dad is really black. and you go back in the Wayback Machine on the internet and almost all her bios are like, I'm Indian, nothing mentioned black.
Well, it probably depends on where the benefit was. It's probably more beneficial to be Indian in that time.
She could have just forgot.
That's very possible. Her and Joe Biden can suffer from the same prognosis. All right, I want you to go back to the beginning of this clip because this is really important because we were talking a little bit over. Play the beginning of this clip again.
It's coming. There you go.
is our moment. Your unborn great-grandchildren are going to ask you, what were you doing?
Hold it, pause.
Stop right there. Unborn. Did he say great-grandchildren?
Great-grandchildren.
Unborn.
Now, if there's ever, I think it's in NIL, but they've done this. If there's ever an epidemic that's for real, a serious epidemic amongst black people, it's the issue of abortion.
Yeah.
She wholeheartedly, without any restrictions, supports the idea of abortion in every way.
Yeah.
And this lady right here is probably, if you're supporting her, you are supporting the idea that you won't have great-grandchildren to ask the question where you were.
Yeah.
This is atrocious.
It's crazy.
This lady who is...
And they're celebrating pink.
You got to remember, okay, let's...
Somewhat, I'm going to give... Breast Awareness Month or something, or Breast Awareness Sunday? Cancer Sunday?
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing it is. Yes, it's probably Cancer Awareness Sunday.
Yeah.
I just want to say, so I'm going to give everybody in here the evangelical, everybody's Christian past, they're all Christians, they're all... Which means, by the way, that all of the seed that they have, all the children that the Lord has given them is for himself.
Yeah.
That is God's seed.
Yeah.
This woman supports the idea of you being able to kill God's inheritance.
That's right.
And you just let her into your pulpit?
Yeah, that's right.
Like, you should have let her in the church to preach on her.
Yeah.
Not to let her preach to you.
Here's your seat.
I mean,
here.
this is like tying the noose around your neck and then watering the tree that it's going to grow from.
That's right.
This is insanity and asinine. All right, so we're going to play as much as we can possibly tolerate of Kamala Harris's sermon. If you want to leave, now would be the time to do it.
We're getting to the point where you might want to leave.
You want to? Go ahead and pull it up. Oh, help us!
And more people are coming in the room.
So in the gospel, we are told of a man who traveled from the road from Jerusalem to Jericho.
I don't know if she knows what text that's in.
And while traveling, he was attacked by robbers. We remember.
She just found that out.
He was beaten. He was bloodied. They left him for dead. He was someone
aborted.
that should just be passed on by, maybe with a glance of pity, but not more. So one person passed by, sees the man lying in his path, and walks around him, not wanting to be bothered or obstructed on the path that he decided to walk. A second man does the same. But then a Samaritan walks by. He sees the man and he stops.
Oh, this is going to be rich.
The Samaritan bandages the stranger's wounds. He brings him to an inn.
Oh boy, this is hard.
Gives him shelter and a hot meal. And he saves the man's life. This parable, the parable of the Good Samaritan,
is about partial birth abortion and why it's wrong. Oh, wait, sorry.
teaches us to love thy neighbor as thyself.
Oh, stop. Hey, Kamala, who you think your neighbor might be? I don't know, maybe the baby in the womb?
The least of these. She would say the least of these.
Like maybe a little small little life that a mother has in her womb.
These words are simple. We know them well. It is an essential tenet and a pillar of our faith and that of so many others. However, one must ask, are all people of faith living those words? Are all people of faith expressing those words in their actions?
No, because they have you in their church with the words new birth in the background while you support abortion. You gotta be kidding. The irony here is no, they don't. You're evidence of the fact that they're not.
Yeah.
You're the direct evidence of that.
That's funny, man.
New birth is literally right behind her head.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
Of the woman who supports the idea of, and been everywhere. We just saw her campaign about Trump just took abortion from you.
Yeah.
And she just got done telling other
Handpicked 3
people,
judges.
okay, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I can't, I'm not going to make it.
Well-
because she just got done telling other people, you're at the wrong rally.
Yeah.
If you
say Jesus is Lord,
Christ is
or
Lord,
if you
Jesus
call her
is King.
for a liar talking about abortion.
Right. Yeah, you're at the wrong rally.
Yeah.
Whatever she did, this is actual cleanup on aisle 9 or something.
Well, and that's what's comical about this whole scenario is you have the Democrats trying to think that they're making some sort of rhetorical score, public campaign score, when they're saying Trump is at McDonald's, it's all staged and it's all fake. But here we have like biblically speaking, Kamala preaching is fake. Biblically speaking,
it's absolutely
Kamala running as president of the United States. It should not be a thing.
This is trans right here.
This is trans pulpit, trans president,
absolutely
trans interpretation of the text.
Oh, poor text,
right?
It's all twisted up.
She's twisting that text. She's transing the text to make it be about the Democratic Party, who is more than willing, to kill a baby up to and after birth. I was in a chat thread on Twitter, or just some thread on Twitter about abortion for Democrats and stuff. And I brought in the Governor Northam video.
Yeah.
And half the people who were debating me didn't even know that video either existed in that thread, or were saying, no, he wasn't talking about, laying the baby down.
No, he absolutely was.
He absolutely was.
Yeah.
And they're all, but that's my point is that they're transing the text of the scriptures, and they're interpreting it and transing it into their own shape and image of what they want to make out of that text. To support their morality, to support their philosophy, to support ultimately her presidential campaign.
I just want to say this too. This is not what your pulpit is for. Your pulpit is for the preaching.
She's blaspheming.
Exposition.
She's blaspheming the word of God right there.
And they're letting her.
Yeah.
They're letting her. I don't know how much.
But you have all the temple whores in the building right there.
That's really
right?
good.
You have Jamal.
That's good.
Who's acting like Eli's sons in the temple, sleeping with all
Eli's sons would look at him like, hey, we were killed for less.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were killed for less.
But Eli's sons stole the fat off the sacrifices.
Yep.
Eli's sons stole money from the sacrifices. Eli's sons, basically, they're still from God.
Yes.
Because the sacrifices, they were allowed to take some of the sacrifice, but after the sacrifice happened,
yes,
Eli's sons would come in and interrupt the sacrifice.
God gave them their portion.
Take the good meat and the good fat off the sacrifice before they sacrificed to God. So God was getting the short end of the sacrifice.
Yep.
Not Eli's sons. Same things happened with Jamal. Eli's sons were sleeping with the women in the temple.
Yep.
That were, the maids or whatever, help them take care of the temple. And that's Jamal. Jamal's now engaged to a woman in their church who's helping in the church.
Yeah.
Pastoring in the church.
Cardiology,
yeah, whatever it is. Pastor of cardiology. He's doing the same thing. And then they bring in the ultimate priestess, because they look at Kamala as the ultimate priestess in the temple. So they've totally whored out all of God's church in this moment. And this goes back to, Trump is far more real in what he's doing with his campaign. Parts of it are staged. No one denies that. But far more real as an American citizen than what Kamala's doing, not just as an American citizen, but also as some sort of whatever professing Christian she's trying to claim she is. Yeah. She's a fake Christian, and she's a fake woman running for president.
These
she's
are fake American pastors that won't put her. She talked about her pastor. Yeah. She should be under church discipline.
That's right.
Hands down. Right. The other thing I want to say too is can we finally stop having the conversation on Christian nationalism? Because it's very clear to me we're not talking about the same things anymore, because this is Christian nationalism.
Yeah.
It's just really, really, really bad Christianity.
Yeah.
This is really, really bad. But there's no question that she's using the pulpit in order to try to preach a certain type of theology that aligns to certain type of policies that she wants to say are loving my neighbor. Yeah. Now, this is the complete inversion of the law, because she doesn't mind stealing, and she considers that loving her neighbor. That's what her ideas of socialism are. Mm-hmm. Her ideas of giving money to people because of the color of their skin. Yeah. What are you talking about? And forgiving the debts because of that's not justice. Yeah. She doesn't know what justice is. Yeah. And so this is the idea. People have no problem with Christian nationalism at all. Mm-mm. They had all these people and they're cheering for the kind of Christian nationalism they want. We're only arguing about at this point what kind of Christian nationalism we want.
That's right.
Are we going to have one that actually honors God, honors the Bible, and then because of that creates human flourishing? Or are we going to have the kind of Christian nationalism that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and the left and all those guys over there and Jamal Bryant obviously want? I'm going to tell you, you're going to be a slave underneath that type of false Christian nationalism.
Yep.
It is going to be bad for you. I think we should save some of this until
when Toby gets back.
I think he's going to want a piece of this because she is desecrating the pulpit and this guy is letting her do it.
Yeah.
This guy.
Yeah.
All right. We'll save that for another time because there's so much more. I want to go through that little. She gets in there and she starts to preaching. It gets really interesting.
It's so hard to listen to her already and then her to pretend to be a preacher. It just makes it so much worse to listen to her.
I just want to know who wrote it. All right, so we'll say that for another time. Listen, the conference is what?
We're 9 days away.
9 days
away from the conference. Right. It's going to be, we're so excited about it. Let me just remind everybody that we actually opened up Beer and Psalms to the public on Thursday night because we're in Dallas, Fort Worth. We're in a big event center. It's Reformation Day. It's Reformation Night. We're celebrating with each other, the people of God. We're celebrating Reformation Day. We got a number of Psalms tailored to that moment. All the booths are going to have candy for the kids. I mean, there's going to be so much. And so we just wanted to open it to the public. Beverage and get there at 5:30 because actually beverage and food will be for sale.
Yeah.
And everything. And we're extending it. Usually we'd start Beer and Psalms about 7:00. This year we're starting at 5:30 to probably about 8:30. It's going to be just a great time of fellowship. So show up, even if you don't have a badge on Thursday. Man, it's going to be a fun conference.
You might want to stay for the whole conference, So.
Yeah, and you could buy tickets at the door too if you want to.
All right, if you're single, get married. If you're married, have you some kids, and if you have kids, go baptize them. Until tomorrow, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. This is Cross Politic.